there's a story about lifers on this record, which is that in the notes it says to Anthony, thank you for bringing these songs to life with me, and thank you for calling me a lifer. Because we had this, I was talking to Joe Pugg at a show. I had opened for him a million years ago. I was like, you probably don't remember me. I opened for, and he was kind of like, oh yeah, sure. And he had just been out with Anthony opening for him. And I was like, Anthony and I are working on a record. And he goes, man, that kid's a lifer. And I texted him and I was like, aw, Joe Pugg just called you a lifer. And Anthony texts me back and goes, you're a lifer too, dude. And I was like it kind of, again, leveled me in like the best way. Like I needed somebody to look at me on the other side and be like, yeah, you're still doing this. Because it does feel, it has felt like such a struggle for me in these 5 years of like, how am I going to keep going when I have this whole new set of priorities and what I care about, and I don't want to miss shit. Like I don't want to be missing a star of the week at preschool this week if I'm here in Nashville doing something, right? Like there's always a trade. And so you know, I needed that person to kind of be like, no, you're still in it doing this. And it really helped me like kick myself in the ass to be like, yeah, I'm doing it.
Yeah, and you continue to do it. And I wonder if I feel like every lifer. Sure. I think that I'm a lifer.
You're a lifer.
I'm a lifer. I'm never going to quit doing this. Yeah. And I think that you realize at some point along the way that even though the picture isn't at that very moment exactly what you thought it was supposed to be or had been. In my case, I think in your case, like just a shit ton of touring. Yeah. Touring was success. Yeah. Touring was life. Touring was adventure. Touring was validation. Touring was I am proof that I'm doing it.
Look, I'm doing it. I'm playing a show. It doesn't matter that nobody's here.
Yeah.
I'm on the sandwich board outside. Yeah. This little
sandwich
cafe.
Board, not marquee. Sandwich board.
I'm on the sandwich board at this, whatever, and there's some people ordering coffee and they're listening. So, I mean, and of course it changed as time went on. But like you think about the early days where you're like, holy shit, and how many couches I slept on, and like
totally.
How did my body like survive this insane lifestyle?
Well, and so absent that, all of a sudden you're home with your alone in your apartment or with your children, and you're like not on tour, and you don't have any. I remember the first time I didn't have any shows on my website.
Oh yeah,
the crisis of confidence that was. I also remember, I think it was in 2021, I played a show at the OG Basement for, I think I had a single coming out, and I had a band show. Anthony was in the band for that, and I came home that night. I was like really upset, and Rand was like, dude, it was great turnout, good show, like good job, why are you? And I was like, I don't know when the next time I'm gonna play a band show is, and there's gonna be a point in my life where I played my last full band show, and that might be it. And she was just like, she was like broke out laughing, and I was like not in a mood.
No, for sure.
For laughter. And in hindsight, I mean, that was like 4 years ago, and there were 4 years where I didn't play a band show, really. Right. And I didn't even play shows, and I was working on other stuff.
But the work changes, right? Like it's not like you weren't working, right? And I think that that's what's so hard to get good with yourself is like even when I was setting up the Kickstarter, I sent a voice memo of the script to a friend of mine. And I was like, can you help me? Like, what do you think? And there were a couple things that she helped me tighten up or anything. But she was like, at the beginning, when you say I wrote 144 songs, I'm like, okay, she's working. Like, it's not like you had kids and you were like, I'm going to take a 5-year break. You were like doing the work. It just looked really different. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess that is what that says about me. I hadn't thought about it that way. I was just trying to say this to me is why these songs are important, because there were so many, and this is like every song fit into this through line that came off of like out of this giant pile of songs, right? And I didn't work that way before. Even I did. I mean, Adam and I having a song a week thing, that record Beacon came out that way because that was from all of the songwriting things. And so, but before, I would say 2014, I did like a song a week thing. That was the first time I'd ever tried anything like that. It was like in the folk alliance world. Every song I wrote made it on a record. I don't know how you started out, but when I started out, it was like every song was this like precious gem. It had to go on the record. I was not great at editing. And I like my first 4 records I'm embarrassed of. I'm like, how did I have the balls to just be like, and now I'm going to come play at your coffee shop in Petersboro. Like, what?
Yeah.
Where did that come
Can't
from?
relate.
Yeah.
The weird, insane confidence.
Yeah. And like, maybe it's
this.
youth and it's whatever, but I hit like once I started treating it like a craft that I knew I could get. I mean, my songs got better because I was doing it so much, and my performances got better and my playing got better. But once I hit that year where I wrote a song a week for the first time in 14, I was like, oh, okay. Like, there is a different way to go about this. And it's bringing some really interesting stuff out that I wouldn't have written otherwise, because it wasn't about feelings, place of pain. Here's a song about it. Like, it was like, I'm actually having a really good week. What am I going to write about? And then it's like, oh, well, I have to write about this prompt. And then I would do it. And then some of those songs made it on a record. And then, so I think that for me, that was a big turning point to look at the work as the writing instead of the touring. And I didn't stop touring. Like, I mean, I don't even feel like I stopped touring, but we moved to LA, like I said, end of 16 or middle of 16, actually. I did a big tour summer of 16 for the release of Hiker. And then we moved. And again, I was the same way. I had nothing on the schedule for the fall, because I was like, what's it going to be like when we get to Los Angeles? I don't know. And it was scary as shit. And that's when Adam was like, what if we did this song a week? And I was like, yes, give me a job, give me a thing. Yeah. And then that became the work, you know? Yeah.
You talked about a huge pile of songs that you pulled from for this album. And I'm so curious, because I don't write a ton of songs. There's definitely many songs I haven't recorded that weren't that great. But if I fall in love with a song after I write it, and usually that's pretty clear whether or not that's happened shortly after, it's on a record.
Sure.
So having been a person who's never had 140 plus songs to choose from for an album, how did you cull those?
I have the same thing, which is like, some of them come really fast and they're not, some of them are, so I'm in Matt, the electrician's song game. So it's an email that goes out once a week. We all owe a song by Friday at midnight. You know, everybody on the list, like it's all folky folks. And he gives us a prompt every week, a title. And again, this is like, I was like, I'm never going to be that kind of writer. I only write what's true, like blah, blah, blah. It has been the best exercise in accountability I joined in February of 2020. Like, not knowing what was coming, I saw him at Folk Alliance. Laura Cortese was standing there and she was like, oh, Matt's game. And I was like, ooh, Matt, I just moved and I used to have this thing in LA and now I don't have it. Like, I would love to, he put me on. And then that was the beginning of that kind of process for me. When the songs come so there's a song on the record that I wrote while I was literally nursing my daughter, who was very newborn, at bedtime. And the prompt that week was Strange Shape. And it was a Friday night, and I was putting her to bed, and I knew that the prompt was Strange Shape. And I turned on my voice memos, and I sang the entire first verse of the song. And then I could hear, and then I often do this, I'll sing the guitar part into my phone. Like, I could hear what I wanted the guitar part to be. It came as this, like, I put her to bed, I went downstairs, I turned on the voice memo, I got my guitar, I figured it out, I finished the song. That's on the record. Like, that one of those is like, oh, well, great. There are some songs on the record so I think, sorry, I'm not really answering your question. To cull down at the beginning, there were songs in the mix that I loved. And then there were like songs in the mix, and I would say there were probably 25 or 30 that I felt like were contenders. And so some of those were like Stardust, which like just whoosh, came out from the universe. And some of them were things that I had worked on to a prompt that I was like, this has a lot of potential. And I love this melody, or I love this hook, but it's not all the way there. So I did a round of edits on a bunch of songs, which again, something that's pretty new for me. I never used to look at things like, ooh, I could edit this and make it better. It was just like, well, this is the song. So I did a bunch of edits. Anthony then and I got on a call, and we had already started the record at that point, because I thought we were just going to do one song. And then I was like, actually, let's do an EP and do 4 songs. And then I was like, actually, let's just make a record. So we had already started that process because we had 4 songs chosen for the first, what we thought was an EP. And then I sent him the like 25 others. And I was like, can you give a listen. I have ideas, but I want to hear your ideas. And he picked probably 2 songs that I wouldn't have. And we had conversations about it where I was like, what do you think about? And he's like, oh, this one line, this bridge got me, this pre-chorus got me. Like, and that was really awesome to have a collaborator who knows, as you know, and like knows songs inside and out and knows me really well and has known me for 20 years. And so for him to go, oh, this is it. I was like, okay, I trust you. And then we got to build on that together. And I think it has to be a collaborative process. I mean, I think if you're sitting on a pile of 144 songs by yourself and you're like, I'm going to self-produce a record, you're too in the woods. Like you're just inside of it. You need somebody else to that's how I did Hiker too. Todd picked those songs out of a big pile of songs. And I had ideas about what I wanted to use or whatever. But having that like definitive person say, oh, these ones are interesting to me, that creates that collaborative route of like, okay, because this record is our record. It's not just mine. It's not just yours. We're making this thing in partnership, you know?
Hey, thanks for watching. Go ahead and click here to like and subscribe. You can click right there to watch another video or click here to watch a playlist featuring songs of the Morse Code Podcast. Okay, thank you very much.